I want to talk about small art. There's a song from about a century ago and change called Bread and Roses. It's a protest song, first written as a poem by James Oppenheim and put to music by Carolyn Colsatt, though I'm pretty sure the better-known melody is by Mimi Farina. It was sung at the 1912 textile strike, and the phrase bread and roses is a slogan of the Democratic Socialists of America. John Denver actually did a cover of it with bagpipes, and it was on Riverdale? Anyway, there's a little bit in the song that goes like this. Small art and love and beauty, their trudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. And that got me thinking about art, specifically the idea of small art, something like a rose or a bracelet. It's not very big, it's not grand drama, there isn't spectacle to it, but it's beautiful, right? I got this bolero jacket a while ago. I'm honestly not 100% sure where I got it, but either way, when I got it, it had a hole in the sleeve, right along the seam. And honestly, I just didn't do anything about it. I don't know why, but that seems like just my response to bad shit, to just live with it. I don't know where that came from, but it's a learned helplessness I'm not very happy about. So, just a few days ago, I sat down with a needle and thread and stitched up the sleeve. This is the wrong sleeve. It wasn't very professional, but of course it wasn't. I've only sewn a couple times in my life, and it got the job done. I have a bolero now, and it looks really nice over a t-shirt. Kind of makes it look like a long sleeve tee, only more femme. I also sewed some patches on this jean jacket of mine. I've worn it in a bunch of videos, you've probably seen it by now. It's a real Levi Strauss, but I got it secondhand at a shop for trans-affirming clothing that has since closed down, and it's probably my favorite article of clothing I've ever worn. It's warm and a little rough and just feels grounded, you know? Like, this jacket will take care of me forever if I take care of it back. And I sewed the patches myself. My mom helped with the first one to teach me how to sew, but I did the rest myself. We've got a trans flag, because of course I put my pride flag on it. We've also got the 3 arrows with the words Antifa Aktie written on it in Yiddish. And if you look closely, that middle arrowhead is actually a Mogen David. I was a bit alarmed when I first looked up the 3 arrows and saw that one of the arrows was against communism, but I did a bit more research and found that the Communist Party of Germany at the time of the 3 arrows was pretty staunchly Stalinist, and also the Jewish Labor Bund used the 3 arrows in Poland, and I digress. The point of the symbol was to deface a swastika with it, so it's cool. Fuck Nazis. The third patch is actually pretty recent, and I got it as a memorial to Co-Host. Co-Host was a small social media site that had no metrics, no algorithm, and no ads. It was explicitly leftist and banned neo-Nazis and TERFs outright. The site wasn't perfect, but it was like a breath of fresh air after the everything of Twitter, even pre-musking. Unfortunately, because the site refused to rely on venture capital or advertisers, it eventually ran out of money and had to shut down. I was honestly really sad about it. But I digress again. The major point is that I put these patches on the jacket myself, and I felt really proud of myself for it. I've been hanging out on smaller social media a lot. It's a lot cozier. I also coded my own website. A lot of websites these days use dynamic client-side rendering to generate single-page apps, utilizing frameworks like React or Next.js. These are massive, abstracted building blocks designed to create highly reactive, interactive sites that run like Twitter does, making API calls to a server to dynamically update information. I've worked with those types of sites before. They're very useful for what they are, but they're also big. They're built to handle millions, if not billions of people, generating views dynamically based on the user. My site's not like that. I hand-coded it in HTML and CSS with a minimal amount of JavaScript. Every element of it was designed by hand to look exactly how I wanted it to look. And it works! I really like how my site looks, and it's mine. I can put it on any web host I like, and it'll be exactly the same. I could even self-host if I wanted to. It's not a big website designed for millions of users. It's a small site designed to have my own stuff and nothing else. I also joined a folk choir recently. We're not fantastic. We practice in an old labor temple once a week on Thursday nights, and we sing songs in Yiddish, Ladino, and English. I am actually singing soprano, something I never expected to be able to do, given my history. There's maybe a dozen of us, plus the conductor and pianist, and we're actually doing a show in December. It's not going to be a huge thing. The audience will mostly just be friends and family, but it's nice. I like it. And it's fun singing with other people. In a similar vein, I've also been making music in FL Studio. I'm not very good yet, but I've been learning how chord progressions work and the circle of fifths, and experimenting with instrumentation. I've used a song I made in a video, and that was one of the best feelings in the world. It's a way to say things I don't have the words for using music, an ornamenting of time by my own design. So, what's my point? Why'd I make this little video? Well, it's been a hot minute since my last Chaianalysis video. That one was an hour long, took months of research, and flopped. And while I could beat myself up for that, or alternatively rage against the YouTube algorithm and taste the sour grapes, I want to sit with the feeling that it gave me. I put a ton of effort into making something grand, something that felt important, and it fell flat. So what did I do about it? Well, I watched the Defunctland video on the Disney Channel theme for the millionth time, for one. For another, I started making more AMVs and writing more fanfic. I've got a whole bunch of Ruby fics up on Archive of Our Own, and I've spent a lot more time just hanging out with my friends. And this whole thing got me thinking about art. And then I listened to Bread and Roses again for the millionth time, and things just kind of synthesized for me to think about small art. I don't know how many people are going to see this video, but I'm not sure I care. In the Defunctland video, Kevin talked about that pretentious part of him that wants to make high art, and how the video was dedicated to the people who make, essentially, small art. Nobody knew their names, but they were artists. Co-hosts didn't allow numbers specifically because obsessing over metrics, chasing fame and renown, can curdle your relationships with other people. Small art is the opposite of that. The point isn't metrics or engagement. The point isn't product. It's the simple joy of creation, of making something. It's part of why, as a writer, filmmaker, composer, singer, and programmer, I hate so-called AI. The joy of creation isn't having a product you can distribute. It's the joy of making something, of sculpting with your hands. It's the joy of a needle and thread, shutting a seam and breathing your own life into a defective bolero top. It's stitching patches onto a secondhand jacket and making it your own, promising to take care of it as it shelters you from the wind and the rain. It's hand coding an HTML page that's human readable, every aspect of the site's design finely tuned to look how you want it to. It's posting on small social media, knowing that maybe a dozen people will ever see it, but knowing that those dozen are your friends, people who genuinely care about what you have to say. It's composing music that expresses your feelings, or standing in a choir and singing soprano, keep the song going, singing just for fun. It's taking clips from your favorite shows and editing them to your favorite songs to make a piece of art that stands independent of either of those things. It's writing fan fiction that appeals to the specific niche of you and your 6 friends with the same brain rot about useless lesbian prismatic ponytails and nuts and dolts haunting the narrative. It's about making a little video about art, just for the sake of making it. Thank you for watching. As we go marching, marching, in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle too for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated, from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead, go crying through our singing their ancient call for bread. Small art and love and beauty, their trudging spirits knew. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we go marching, marching, the people hear our call. The rising of the women means the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler, tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.